Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today, I've got the long-awaited review coming for the DNT Optics 335R thermal and day and night scope. Now, previously I had done a lot of content and reviews on the 225R. Well, this is the big brother to that, and it's got some advanced features and a better resolution compared to its predecessor. So before I even get into that, let me tell you a little ditty about this scope, and it's one that actually crushed my soul. I was out there at 50 yards with the gun sitting here just like this, and all of a sudden I heard a giant crash, and I knew that my gun had fallen about 4 feet right onto this concrete pad below me. And the scream that I uttered is still lingering over Lake Michigan right now.
My father wove a tapestry of obscenity that, as far as we know, is still hanging in space over Lake Michigan.
But I came back, and I do have a little bit of damage on the gun and scope, but it's superficial only. So I brought my target stand into 25 yards to check my zero, and astoundingly, I was only a tiny bit off. You know, at worst, I expected this entire scope to be boned from that. It's a very, very sensitive thermal optic, so falling 4 feet with a gun attached to it, not good. But anyway, I zeroed the scope at 25. It was a tiny bit off. I adjusted my zero and function checked everything on it, and it seems totally fine. So that is a testament to the durability of these scopes and, in fact, the FX Panthera. Wouldn't really recommend dropping it 4 feet onto concrete, but in case you do, you're probably okay. So with that said, we'll take a look at some of the features of this thing here in a minute. I did an unboxing of this, so we're not going to include an unboxing in this. We're going to kind of stick right to shooting, where I compared it to the 225R. So if you want to see that, I'll leave a link in the description there below for you. But this thing's a little bit beefed up compared to that one. Number one, it's got a higher resolution thermal sensor. Number two, it's got a bigger battery. So this has a 21700 battery. Its predecessor had an 18650 battery. So you're going to get a little bit better battery life out of this guy here. And if you're not familiar with these optics, it's got a lot going on for it. So it's got this top tube here, which is going to give you your day and night vision optic, and then this lower tube here, that's the actual thermal optic, which is going to let you basically become the predator and see everything in thermal mode. So if you would, let's come a little closer and we'll take a look at some of the features here up close. We've got a rangefinder module right here, and if you look at the front of it, we can see the actual emitter there. So this has onboard ballistics, and that's what is one of the key features about this. So if I press this button here, it's going to range my target, and then with the brains inside the scope, it's going to give me either a holdover or it's going to tell me what my hold is, or both, which is cool. This button here is going to switch from thermal to night vision or day vision mode, and we can do a picture-in-picture mode, which is probably how I'm going to run it for this whole video. This tube right here contains your 21700 battery, and then if you look at the front of this here, that's actually the IR emitter, and this is a very powerful IR, which is focusable as well. And you're gonna see, we can hit a small 4-inch target out at 150 yards in the dead of night with this thing. One more thing about the laser emitter, please disregard my battle damage, but you see this little hole that looks like a lens at the back of it there? It actually does have a little sensor in there, and you can enable a mode to have it sense your face, and when you pull your face off of the optic, it's going to go into standby mode. So if you're trying to really save batteries, that is a pretty cool feature, and that is an additional feature that the 225 does not have. Up top, we've got the very familiar button layout, same as the 225R, so very easy to use. I wish it was illuminated, so I will say that, but it is not, but it is easy to use, and especially once you kind of have the feel for it, you'll know which buttons to press. Another difference from this to the 225R, the 225R had a little click wheel for zoom. This actually has a throw lever and is more like a traditional scope. So for you shooters that enjoy kind of the throw lever and more traditional feel, it's got that. Also, the actual eyepiece here is quite a bit bigger, and it has more eye relief than the 225R. The 225R, I think, was 45 millimeters eye relief. This is like 65. And you've got also a better screen inside here, which to your eye is going to make it look like a lot better image. So if I go to this side, we've got a pick rail hanging off the side here. So if you wanted to mount an additional flashlight or IR or something, not that you need an additional IR with this thing, you could. We've got a charging port here with your USB-C in there. And then if I point the gun this way, we can see that big thermal sensor right in the front there. So this thing has a lot going on for it. And like I said, if you want to take a look at the unboxing and everything that it comes with, check out my other video. I'll link that in the description. All right, I'm going to do this through my cell phone because I do believe it stops recording when you go into the menu selection here. So I don't know if you can see that, but that says connections. You can connect this thing to Wi-Fi, and then you can see the footage and files on your phone. You've got zeroing here, and this is really easy to use. You can select different profiles, and then with that freeze function right there, you just take a shot, hit freeze, and then just adjust your reticle to where your impact was. And you need to do this both for thermal and digital there. So that's pretty cool. You've got your reticle settings. So you've got a whole bunch of different reticles for both thermal and digital in there. Okay. So check that out when you get one of these. You got a whole plethora of options. Ballistics calculator. This is where all the magic happens. So you're going to basically be able to enter in all of your ballistics data, you know, your height over bore, your BC, your slug weight, etc. And then that's where you're going to be able to use the brains of this thing to calculate different distances. Aiming method up here is either holdover or dialing. I like to have it on holdover, and then display ballistics. It'll actually tell you, and you'll see in a bit, the ballistics for where you've ranged your scope. All right, we've got auto wake up. So that one right here is, I believe, for the little sensor on the rangefinder that looks back at you. So if you take your eye off, it turns off and turns back on when you look again. Thermal zoom lock. This is an interesting one, and it's new for the 335. If I had the reverse on the screen right now, where the thermal was in the corner and the night vision was the main picture here, I could lock the thermal at a specific zoom level. So no matter if you're zooming up and down on the night vision, the thermal would stay the same. So use case for that, if you wanted to have a really wide thermal view to make sure you can see what's going on, you could lock it at a low magnification, and then you could still zoom in super far on your digital, which is cool. All right, so then we have some laser rangefinder LRF settings. You just have your ranging modes, and then so those, you've got some different ones there that you can select, and then you also have units, either yards or meters. We can go down into the PIP settings. That's picture in picture. You can have it right, left, center, and a couple of other modes there. Recoil activated recording is off right now because this is an air gun, but if you had a high recoiling gun, unlike an air gun, you could turn that on, and then it would just automatically record when you take a shot. Dual mode is basically saying, yes, we want thermal and the day or night optical scope on. You can pick one or the other if you want to save batteries, I believe. And then we've got enhanced mode on, and that just enhances the quality here. The next one down here is thermal image settings. We've got a whole bunch of different stuff there. The most important probably being the palettes, which we'll go through here in a bit. And then we've got some function settings there, which are kind of what you'd expect there. Loop recording, I have that off. You can have it set to like have a limit where it's like, let's say 3 or 5 minutes, and then it continues another loop of recording, making multiple files. So you can play around with that. And then system settings are really what you'd expect: date, time, language, etc. So that's the menu here, and then I'll take some footage with the actual scope here so we can kind of see what we're dealing with here. I've got a target out there at 25 yards. I've got a target at 50. I've got a target at about 100, and then we're also going to ping my 150-yard target in the dead of night. And we're going to show you the thermal. It is not hunting season anymore, so there's probably not going to be a lot of hunting footage in this video unless I get some afterwards. but I do have a lovely assistant with me, and she's agreed to walk down there, and we'll try to do a little bit of a comparison between the 225 and the 335 with the thermal imaging. So before I get into all of that, let me show you a little bit of the daytime footage that I took the other day, and then we'll jump right into all the fun stuff, which is the night shooting. We are going to keep this super brief, but what you're looking at here is my 10-yard log pile, all right? And I'm at minimum magnification, which is 5x. So we'll just zoom in a little bit for you guys. There's 10, and I'm not going to even go much further than that or any further than that. So you can see it looks really good, good image quality. We'll swap over to my 20-yard and back down to 5. Now, of course, we're going to have to refocus this, and that right there looks pretty good. And you can see that's a really crisp, nice image quality. I mean, we can see all of the rings on those logs, and pretty impressive daytime performance. And then there's my 25-yard. Let's see if I can adjust the focus any better. That looks pretty good. And so we'll go in a little. There's 7.5. There's 10. All right. There's 12.5. And we'll just go all the way to 20. So let's see if I can focus that up any better than it is. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And that is my 3 log piles. And we're going to go ahead and jump in the shooting shack here, and we'll look at some other distances and check that out. This guy's pretty oblivious. But look at that thermal, man. That is quite a bit better than the 225R, and I'm really impressed with the resolution on that. This guy is coming out of hibernation and is not realizing he's in immediate danger. Okay, so what we have is my little target trolley out there at 50 yards, and this is fully zoomed out at 5x. So that's one increment in at 7.5. There's 10. There's 12.5, 15, 17.5, and finally we arrive at 20. And of course, with any digital optic, when you zoom in all the way, it's going to get pixelated, but that is really good. Especially for how small this optic is. This is on par or better than a lot of the other optics. I'm just going to try to mess with the focus a little bit. So that's pretty good. And if you look at the green targets, those, even being able to see the ring in the middle is pretty good. I think that this scope does a really good job of daytime footage. So we can see I just ranged it at 50 yards. And I haven't shot this gun all day, and it's been sitting in the cold, but you know what? Let's get that holdover on there, and we will take a shot. This thing is zeroed at 25. You know what? Let's try to put one right on that other hole right there. I'll aim for the hole, not the center of the target. Pretty dang good. Okay, so let's look at some other stuff. I'll zoom back out. Now that fence post right there is at about 118 yards. So I'm going to zoom in first so that I can focus. Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, look at, you can see the individual nail holes and stuff in there. So that's fully zoomed. And then if I zoomed out, if I was hunting, even 10x is fine for that. No problem. And then last but not least, for the daytime footage, let's take a look at my 150-yard plate. I'm going to zoom all the way in so that I can get the best focus on that. And I'm twisting my focus wheel. Okay, that seems pretty good. So I'll back out a little bit and let's range that sucker. Alright, 149, that should do it. And just for grins, let's go ahead and shoot it. And I'll zoom in even further. Whack. So the ballistics on this thing work phenomenally. That's 150 yards, so pretty good. And that's going to conclude the daytime footage, because I know you guys really just want to see the night and the thermal with it, but still wanted to give you an idea of what kind of clarity and stuff you're going to get with it in the daytime. Well, since it's not hunting season, we might as well do a little bit of bird watching, and there's a robin at about 20 or so yards. And I guess we can go ahead and range him. 16 yards, okay. And of course we're not going to actually shoot him, but we'll take a look at some of the color palettes here. That's red hot. iron hot, which is probably my favorite, white hot, and back to black hot. And black hot works really good for the daytime, so I think I'm going to use that in the day in case I see any chipmunks out here today. But we'll see if we can see a couple more birds flying around out here and take a look at them in the thermal. Up in that tree there is a red-winged blackbird, and he is at, about 25-30 yards. And he is up there clear as day in the black hot mode. Okay, red hot, we can see his dome lighting up there in his body. Iron hot, white hot. And yeah, it looks like for the daytime stuff, I think black hot is the ticket, honestly. Alright, so there's a robin out there. He's not that visible in black hot mode because he's sitting in the laneway there, which is wood chips, and it's really overcast today, but it's still taking some heat. But check this out. Okay, so we still see the heat in red hot mode. And that's right there is why I like the iron hot mode. Way, way better for standing out as the living object on a piece of land that has been getting some sunlight on it and heat. And then we'll just do white hot too. So white hot looks pretty good as well, but in most cases black hot's going to be pretty good for daytime, but man, I really prefer that iron hot. Alright guys, so we're taking a look down my laneway. I've got the thermal as the main right now and the digital as the secondary, and I'm going to switch that actually because we'll just take a look at the night vision first. So let's start with, we've got a target here, and it is getting a little bit washed out by the powerful IR, and the IR is only on setting 1 right now. So I'm focusing down here, and if we range that, we'll see that that is 25 yards. Okay, so if I lock that in, it's going to tell me 0 MOA because that's my 0. No need in shooting that, it's already zeroed. If we go out to 50, I'll get that in nice focus, and we'll go ahead and range that at 50, and it's telling me I'm actually down 2.1 MOA due to the trajectory of that bullet. So let's zoom in here at 50. So that's, you can see that's 5x magnification, 7.5, and it does go in 2.5 increments. So that's 10.5, we got 12.5, 15, 17.5, 20, and that's the max magnification. Let me just play with the focus. You will have to focus this when you go to different ranges, so that's pretty good. And of course we're at full zoom, and when you do that, you're basically pixelating things a little with any digital scope. So just because I like shooting, we'll go ahead and take a shot at that right where the crosshair is aimed. Let me zoom out a little bit. We do have a target up there at about 100. I'm going to range that guy. Alright, so it's 102, and let's zoom into that a little and then see if I can get a little bit better focus. Okay, so right about there. I'm going to go up a setting or two on IR. Alright, that's full IR. We'll take a shot at that too while we're here. Dead center impact on that, very nice. I'm going to go back down to setting 1 on the IR. And now this is where we get really, really impressive performance here. So that target right there, that is a 4-inch plate at 150 yards, and just to prove it, I'm going to range it. Okay, it's hitting behind it. Okay, 150 right at the base. So it's telling me, you can see the holdover, 17.5 MOA, and the green holdover is on my reticle, and let's see if we can hit that in one shot. I'm going to try to use the gyroscope at the bottom to make sure we're level, and of course we land a shot right on it without problem. So we'll go ahead and zoom all the way into that. So that's about the best resolution I can get. Let's see if any IR settings will help that out a little bit. I'm at mid setting on the IR, you can see down there hopefully in the display. And I'm going to mess with the focus here a little bit. Okay, that's worse. That right there is pretty good. You can see that very, very clearly. And it's really impressive that the holdover is just able to do this. Oh, missed a little off to the right from wind. There it is. Very nice. So 150 yards with an air gun using this is pretty good. And I'm all the way zoomed out, and even though I'm focused for the 150, we can get a pretty good look at my whole laneway here. So that's gonna generally be the performance you're gonna get with the night mode on, and it's fantastic. And one thing I can tell you, this actual eyepiece has a better screen in it than the 225R, so the image looks much better to me, to my naked eye. So hopefully that's coming through on camera. I'm not sure if it does or not, but pretty impressive stuff. Next, we'll switch over to thermal here, and we're gonna go ahead and have my lovely assistant walk down there in a second. So stand by. Alright, so I'm gonna have my lovely assistant start walking. She'll stop at 50, 100, and then at the fence line at 120. And the 225R I'm holding in my hand, so sorry if it's a little unstable. The other one I have on the bench rest. And the idea here is just to kind of show you the difference in the thermal, because the 335 has a higher sensor. So she's going to walk out to that diamond at 50 yards and kind of pause. And I'm just looking at both of these scopes, and man, the 335R is insane. But I still like the 225R a lot, and I've killed a lot of stuff with it. Alright, so that's at 50 yards. Just kind of giving you the difference between the two scopes here. Alright, we can see that, and she's going to walk to 100 yards. And I'm not adjusting any of the focus or anything on these. I'm just letting it roll. I had it pretty well focused right at around 50 yards, but we're just going to let it go. And she's going to get out there to 100 pretty soon. She's waving to the neighbor's camera on the tree there. And she's probably right at about 100 right now. Alright. Looks like she is. Okay, she's turning around. Wow, and you can really see the difference on the 335. Cool. So she's going to walk to the fence line now, which is about 120 yards away. And my hand is getting mighty tired of holding the 225R, so sorry if it's a little bit wavy, but man, you can just tell the difference between these two. And I think that is pretty cool. The 335R definitely looks different. We'll try to switch through some modes on here. So white hot, that's going to be white hot on both. Alright, black hot on both. And you can just see the 335 has the better resolution. Black hot is pretty stark. But anyway, I'm lucky to have my lovely assistant tonight taking the time out of her night to come and help me. She's got to work tomorrow too. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful to check out both of them. And I did have them both on the, I believe, the lowest magnification. Yep, each. 3 times on the 225 and 2.5 on the 335. Well, here's some cool footage of some ducks at about 10 yards at least. I did just shoot a coyote and he ran off, but I'm not sure if I got that on film or not, but that's pretty cool at least. So there's some of the thermal footage from this thing. Alright, so that's going to do it. I hope I've given you a pretty good demo of this thing and all the features. I have clearly chosen this one over the 225 for the 30 cal Panthera Hunter Compact, and not that the 225 is not as good. I mean, it has less resolution, but I've still gotten plenty of kills with that thing. But this thing, with its higher resolution, higher battery level, and a couple of other additional features in there, make it just a little bit more cream of the crop than the 225R. If you're not looking to spend around $2,000 on this one, you can spend about half the price on the 225R. But overall, I mean, this thing just really makes for an excellent hunting optic. You've got day vision, you've got night vision. You can hit targets out with an air gun out to 150 yards or further just using the onboard ballistics. I mean, what negative thing can I say about this thing? Nothing. It took a 4-foot fall onto the concrete and still works perfectly. So I have nothing but good things to say about this scope. If I were to say one thing that I wish it had, maybe would be the illuminated buttons, and then also a removable SD card would be cool, because you do have to plug this into the computer or use the Wi-Fi function to get your videos out of it. But I mean, other than that, just absolutely stellar job by DNT for an excellent optic. I'm going to leave some affiliate links in the description and comments for you guys. You know I don't monetize the channel. You don't sit through commercials. Because I choose not to do that, I don't get paid. So the only way I get anything out of the channel is if you use the affiliate links. So I'll drop some below. Thank you guys if you're actually using those. Really appreciate that. So with that, I will let you go. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Don't forget you got the coyote.
I did get that coyote.
Got a coyote, just spur of the moment.
I did shoot that coyote. He ran off, but he's hurting. He'll remember me.
Yeah.